Hey everybody, welcome back to OPR Split. Now today's episode started off with an idea. What would it look like if I did OPR minis in 15mm? Honestly, this didn't even really start as a video. This is just me messing around with a slicer, going, hey, could I make this work? What would this look like? Can do the supports work? Let's do a little bit of experimenting. What it turned into about halfway through this experiment is, man, I need to make a video on this. So this video is going to be kind of scuffed because it's just a long train of consciousness that I had that I'm trying to fit into a video and find some way to present it to you guys. Now, I'm not one of those YouTubers that has all the fancy graphics and video editing and stuff. I'm just a dude out in his garage. But I think the ideas I come up with are pretty good. If you let me, give me a couple minutes of your time, and let me throw this pitch at you. Listen to it and let me know what you guys think. So with that, on the way to the video. The army I looked at first was Alien Hive. Mostly because I did not have an Alien Hive's army. And two, because if anything is going to fail, it's going to be these guys, because they are covered in spikes going every which direction. So I'll speed up through a lot of this, because honestly it took a minute. But this is me just going into the Chi-Chu box slicer, starting off with one model to see if it would work. And then once I found out that one would work, I put in a ton of models. And I supported them all and sliced the plate. So then I made an army list for them, something to build to, and then came and sliced the rest of the models I needed. So with the Alien Hives, I did all my own supports on them. It's kind of fun. I've been 3D printing for a while now, so I kind of know what's going to work. And when I get to experiment like this, it's kind of fun, just kind of working into the unknown. So you guys know I always have a battle report in my videos, because why else are we doing this? We like to play with our little toy soldiers. So I decided, again, an army I did not own, and one that they just came out with, I'm going to take the Dwarf Guilds. And I'm going to reduce them to 15mm, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to use their supports and see what happens. So again, do one, check it, and then fill the plate. Let's see what we come up with. Alright, so that took about 10 minutes. As far as islands and stuff on the model, everything came out damn near perfectly. Like, I don't see any obvious screw-ups. Like, that might be a little flat point there on the wing, but yeah, just a little hair of it. But honestly, that's probably no less than what I would get at 32mm. These guys just came out phenomenally. There you go. I got little nubs I got to clean up, but you know, to get them to this point took about 5 minutes. A little mortar beast. Now let's work on the individual medium beasts. All right, all the medium dinos, all the medium Alien Hive stuff came out perfect. Again, just as good as it would be at 32mm. Had to take a little break where Daddy can fix anything. Ha! 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 Yay! It works again. New screw. So, our next step will be to take all these off the sprue. Oh, it's gonna take a while. So this is where I find out I lost count. I only wanted to do 80. Or actually, I only wanted to do 60. Turns out I did 120. So, yay! But hard part's done. Well, one of the hard parts done. We took everything off of the raft. So now let's just start digging. So I was racing the spin cycle and it beat me by 2 models. But here we are. Again, oh, it's so small I can't even focus on it. But again, it looks like we didn't focus. We didn't lose any details on the little guys. So, you got a big old pile of those. And while we were waiting, a big old pile of that. There we go. While we were waiting on that, the Dwarf Warriors got done. Now these are done with just the one-page rules regular supports. And we'll see how those go. Alright, it's almost comical how fast those fell off there. This took me like 30 seconds. But, let's see, as you can see here, most of them came out just great, but then we have a few where they lost the, come on, focus, where they lost like the bottom of their hand holding the gun there, which, I mean, a 15 millimeter where you're only going to see them at like this angle, that's one of those, it don't really matter to me. I think the worst one, where'd you go? Oh, I lost it already. Yeah, there it is. I think the worst one was this one here, where it kind of started to cut into his hand a bit. But again, you're going to see it at that angle. Not a problem. All right, so 15 millimeter OPR. Yeah, the models work in 15 millimeter. Their supports at 15 millimeter. If you're willing to give up just a little bit, if you're willing to give up a little bit of precision on some parts that really you're not going to see, yeah, they work great. And just 30 seconds. I'm never doing that again. I'm gonna redo all these files for my next batch with the OPR supports. Maybe the big ones I'll stick to supporting on my own. I'm not sure about that one. I got some tanks coming that I'm doing with the Dwarfs with OPR supports. So we'll see how that goes. But this little experiment has given me ideas. It has activated my neurons. So expect something soon. So now I got the models. Next thing I need to do is find bases for them. I could individually base them, but I'm an old man. These armies are going to be huge. I don't want to move that many small individual models. So I have played an extensive amount of 6, 10, 15, 12, 8mm games. I just thought back to those games and said, hey, multi-basing would probably be the way to go for this. So what I did is I took the quintessential 15mm game, Flames of War, and looked at their bases. What do you do when you're trying to come up with an idea? You go to Amazon, search Flames of War bases, and I found quite a few. A lot of them were already modeled on top. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to keep all the bases real simple for this. I find the blank Flames of War bases, and then I look at the price of them. That's more than I want to spend on this. It's just an idea at this point. So I've been down this road before. Let's check out the MDF bases. And the prices there are not much better. So at this point, this is kind of where this idea stalled. All these models sat in a bucket on the edge of my paint table, like, I'll get to them one day. Then one day I was in Walmart walking around the craft section, came across these.
Today on War Boss Fits is a cheap old man.
Now those are cake decorating plates. They are a thick, solid cardboard, meant to plop down birthday cakes and whatnot to decorate them. So they got a little bit of stiffness to it. $4 for a pack of 3. Yeah, I can work with that. I jumped on the paper cutter. I don't know how many bases I actually got. I stopped counting at around 200. So again, this is more of a proof of concept. I decided that I'm just going to slap some color on there. There's a whole lot of detail from 32mm or 15mm that you're not going to see on the tabletop. So a lot of this, I didn't really worry about the detail on it. So let's start off showing off the dwarfs we got here. What I ended up doing is I made a 3,500 point list. Why 3,500 points? I don't know. It's not a really common number, but I just threw that together. That's what I came up with. So for the dwarf guilds here, we're going to have a power suit champion who is leading a unit of 6 power suits. We've got 2 squads of 10 dwarf warriors with shotguns. We've got 2 squads of 6 Thunder support, 2 squads of 10 Guardians, and then we have 5 APCs. Then for the Alien Hives, I went with a entirely washes and contrast paint color scheme here. Kind of the old classic bugs from the other game that we don't like to talk about. But what we have is ooh, stretch. We have a High Lord with wings, focus. Again, detail's not that. Detail on the paint is terrible. But detail on the model, even detail on the model with my self-supports here came out beautifully. Then we have two Carnival Rexes. Here, again, rushed paint job just to get on the table to show you guys. But, you know, again, a 15 millimeter on the board, that looks pretty good. Then we got two Mortar Beasts in the back. Oh, as you can see, the cake plates come with like one shiny side. I guess that's where the cake's supposed to go to not stick to. So I went to the other side, which was just, I glued them to the other side, which is just the heavy duty cardboard. And then I guess if you really needed to, you could seal the edges of it, but nothing here warped because I covered it in texture, a coat of paint, and then gave it 2 oil washes to get that color, and nothing warped, so we're good there. Again, my fingers, I've been painting today, so that's oil wash on one hand, and then my my dry brush finger on the other. Again, this is scuff. This is such a scuffed shot video because I'm just doing this kind of as a stream of consciousness for you guys. And then because I made them, why not use them? I got 6 squads of 20 assault grunts to run around the board. So let's come up with something to play. Hey everybody, this is Warboss Fitz. I just finished the editing of this video. That battle report is really scuffed. So I apologize for that, but it's already been filmed. I've already put a couple days into it. So I'm going to go ahead and show you, but just to let you guys know, I'm going to be making a lot of changes to the way we do battle reports. So just suffer through this, and then I have some stuff to tell you about at the end. Thanks. So in this mission, the Dwarves have reports of alien hive troops in the valley. So they have been ordered to move forward to contact. All 5 of the Dwarf Guild APCs are moving forward, scanning the hills, waiting for the alien hives to pop out. The alien hives are all in hiding, waiting for them to get to the right position to spring their ambush. So I'm a sucker for narrative battles over take and hold scenarios like the game normally has. So in this mission, the objective is just going to be which army will be able to walk out of this valley. Now, as far as rules we're going to use, because everything's a 15 millimeter, because they are half scale, exactly, I just scaled everything to 50%. That means that we're going to scale all the ranges down to half. So I'm playing on a 4 by 4 foot table. That would turn into a 8 foot by 8 foot table at 32 millimeter scale. So we're probably going to have to go more than 4 turns. But again, this is all testing. This is all just throwing ideas out there. We're going to see how it works. So let's start off with the Dwarfs going first. The lead Dwarf APC crosses the center line, kicking off the whole ambush.
Here they come. Swing wide and dismount. Show them we came to party.
Big boy on the right. They're in range. Opening up. Out and fire! Out and fire!
Surprise!
Form a line and hold. Don't let them through.
Hold them here. They don't get a step further. What in the hell? Ugh, where did that come from?
We're out of range. Get up there, boys.
So in turn one, the alien hive sprung their trap, and all the dwarves inside the APCs got out to circle the wagons, guns pointing out. So far, there's been 2 bases of the assault grunts taken off the board so far, and 1 squad of guardians that were unfortunate enough to be hit by 2 spore mines from the mortar beasts. On to turn number 2.
Well, hello there.
Turn 2 saw massive amounts of automatic rifle fire. At the end of turn 2, the alien hives are down to 50 assault grunts, where they started with 120. The Dwarf Warriors' defense seems to be holding the line. You did see a unit of 10mm undead pop up for a second. That's because I did not print any spores for the mortar beasts. I just forgot. So those were spores, and the APC that rammed into them blew up the spores, took 1 wound, and they came off the board. We're going to roll right into turn number 3. So in turn 3, the dwarf infantry were punished by the alien hives, but they definitely dished it back. Highlights of that turn was the Hive Lord charging into the Power Suit Squad, knocking down half the unit. Then the Carnivore Rex charging into the rear, knocking them down far enough to fail their morale test and bug out. The Thunder Support Squad with their beamers able to take out the Carnivore Rex on their corner of the board. And then the combined firepower of all the APCs were able to finally take down the Hive Lord. The board is looking pretty sparse, so I think we might be able to end it on turn number 4. At the end of turn 4, the Dwarf Guilds are going to take the win. So, what has this taught me? It taught me that 15mm is very viable, especially with the multi-basing. Now, a note on the multi-basing, I'm going to switch out the bases I have for the 10 model units, and I'll just make those into 2 5-model units. Just because keeping a D6 next to it, I think looks a little better and feels a little better than having to dig out D10s for those. So, now that we've learned this, what are we going to do with this information? Well, I've been throwing this idea out there on Reddit, and I think I put it on the community page on the channel here, and I've even talked with people on the OPR Discord about it. I'm going to be doing a campaign. Our first one is going to be a map-based campaign in Age of Fantasy. Now, the reason why it's going to be an Age of Fantasy over Grimdark Future is that the Age of Fantasy one will be a building block to the Grimdark Future one, because when we get to the Grimdark Future one, instead of just one map, there's going to be multiple planets. I'm going to incorporate war fleets into it. It's going to be huge. So this is just a stepping stone on the path to greatness. So now that campaign is going to be based off the narrative that I started in the games I was doing before I started doing the How to Play series. You can go back and take a look. I'll put the little thing up in the corner so you can go take a look at those. Now I have the materials together to make the map. I have the map rules figured out on how stuff is going to move on the campaign map. I even have a friend of mine who I press ganged into being the Havoc Lord. What we're going to do is the viewers are going to focus on the human side of the campaign. Every time we have an episode, we're going to follow the main army, which is going to have the heroes and some of the special stuff in it. And that'll be played out on a board, a battle report, every time we do an episode. But there's going to be multiple armies marching across the field at the same time. So what I'm going to do is we're going to have a pseudo mail-in campaign like a GW used to do back when they were fun. Whenever an army meets on the board and it's not one of the main armies, I'm going to give you a rundown of what those two armies have. And that will determine the point level of the game. And the way that you can participate then is I want you guys to play that battle. Using whatever armies you have, as long as the point levels are equivalent, I'll give you the mission of that scenario. And then through the Discord I'm setting up, I swear I'll get that set up one of these days. I am technology illiterate. I'll have you guys send in the results. And then every week we'll take some pictures that you guys send in, put them up, shout them out, let everybody see your cool models and the fight that you have. And that will affect the campaign map, just like the old mail-in campaigns used to be back during the heyday of when Games Workshop was fun. Now for the fantasy campaign, we're going to use the OPR models where they are available, so like for the Human Empire. But for the rest of the factions, for now, I'm going to have to run with other creators' models. Time will tell when I put the whole thing together what it's going to look like. So if you've made it this far, thanks for hanging out with me while I shoot my stream of consciousness into the void. I hope you guys like it. Leave me some comments. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me if you're going to be interested in sending me in-game results and participating in the campaign. And I'm sure along the way we're going to make up some characters. We already have Sir Simp the Maidenless. We're definitely going to be having some more, depending on what happens on the board. I have just kept adding stuff to this video the longer I've sat on it, so I'm going to cut it off here. And I'm going to tell you guys, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, leave me a comment. Hopefully, my rambling isn't too bad. And we'll see you next time in the garage. Have a good one.